Hello. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to share the story of a person who experienced something truly indescribable. To preserve their privacy, I will be the one to narrate their account. The question it leaves us with is profoundly provocative. Do you believe there are bodies capable of bearing the very glory of God? Our current bodies could never achieve such a feat, but what awaits us has been designed precisely for that. These bodies are described as entities that transcend the physical and the spiritual. They will be able to reflect the glory of God in a way that our current bodies could not even bear. It is such an astonishing reality that it is hard to imagine. I never thought I would find myself here, narrating something so profound and transformative. However, there are moments in life that confront us with experiences so impactful that it becomes inevitable to share them. My name is Margaret Whitfield, and what I am about to share completely transformed my understanding of life, death, and what awaits us beyond. It was not simply a dream or a hallucination. It was a tangible experience, so vivid and intense that, even months later, every detail remains etched in my mind, as if it had happened yesterday. For 11 minutes, on a serene morning in March 2024, I experienced what is known as clinical death. Yes, I was dead. And in that brief span, between what we understand as life and what many consider the end, I lived an experience that words can barely capture. It all started like any other day. It was a special day, the baptism of my little one. A moment I had awaited with immense joy. Dressed in my best Sunday outfit, I felt my heart light, overflowing with gratitude and anticipation. The sky was clear, the roads were calm, and the radio was playing my favorite anthems. It was one of those days when everything seems to be in perfect harmony with the universe. As I drove, I felt deeply connected to every moment. Each note of the songs playing on the radio seemed to envelop me in a serene peace, as if they were a prelude to what was to come. I was lost in happy thoughts, reflecting on the future of my little girl, and feeling the blessing of being able to witness such a significant day for our family. Everything was going normally, until suddenly, everything changed. The last thing I have etched in my mind is the shocking image of a delivery truck invading my lane. It was a fleeting moment, so unexpected, that there was no time to scream or react. In an instant, the reality around me completely faded away. What happened next is something that will remain etched in my memory forever. Suddenly, I felt that I was no longer in the car. It was as if I had been transported to another plane of existence. I floated above what seemed to be my own body. However, unlike what many stories recount, I did not see hurried doctors or people trying to save me. No, what I experienced was something much grander and deeper, almost indescribable to the human mind. Curiously, I didn't feel pain. My body lay down there, inert, visibly injured. But at that moment, I felt more alive than ever. It was as if my soul, my essence, had been freed from all physical limitations. As I tried to understand what was happening, I found myself enveloped by a presence that surrounded me with its warmth and mystery. It was more than just light. Although there was a light there, bright and intense, it was not blinding. That light seemed to envelop me in a special way, not with physical warmth, but with a deep sense of love, peace, and understanding. It was as if every cell of my being, if I can call it that, was being embraced, accepted, and loved in a way I had never felt before. It was at that moment, in the midst of that deep connection, that Jesus Christ appeared. There he was, right in front of me. His presence was indescribable, a perfect blend of warmth and majesty. It was not simply a figure like those we usually see in paintings or movies. It was something deeper, something that transcended any human representation. Its eyes. Ah, those eyes. I find it difficult to find words that truly capture the depth they radiated. In them was the weight of eternity, as if all the history, All the love and all the wisdom of the universe were concentrated in their gaze. Looking at them was like diving into the very essence of life and creation. Her voice left an indelible mark on my being. She uttered just one word, Margaret. But that word was not merely a sound. It was like a portal that opened within me, revealing more about who I am and the purpose of my existence than any experience I have had in my 68 years in this world. At that moment, I experienced an astonishing clarity about the meaning of life, about our essence, and the reason for our existence. There was no room for judgment. There was only love. A love so pure and deep that, had I still been in my physical body, I am convinced that its intensity would have overwhelmed me. However, in that transcendental state, I was able to endure it. Moreover, it was not just about enduring it, but about being transformed by it. Every second of reflection seemed to unveil a new revelation, a new layer of understanding about what truly matters in life. It was not material possessions, nor status, nor the small problems that we often carry in our hearts. What truly matters is love, connection, and the way we live our lives with purpose and gratitude. There are those who claim that experiences like mine are mere illusions of the mind, but I can assure you, with every fiber of my being, that what I lived was authentic, even more real than anything else I have experienced in this physical world. And now, back on Earth, I feel it is my duty to share this story. I do not do it with the intention of convincing anyone, but to plant a seed of hope, of faith, and of love. Because if there is one thing I have learned from this experience, it is that life never ends. If you are listening to this, I want you to know that you are deeply loved, that your life has a meaningful purpose, and that at some point, all of us will understand the true magnitude of this reality. I have so much to share with you about what is to come. The words of Jesus still resonate in my soul, like an invitation to discover a grand mystery. What he revealed to me next completely transformed my view of our identity and what the future holds for us. It was about the resurrection bodies. And believe me, what I witnessed was so astonishing, so glorious, and at the same time, so overwhelming that it is almost impossible to describe it in words. It all started with an explanation about something that, at first glance, seems so simple. Our current bodies are like seeds, an idea that Paul had already shared in his letter to the Corinthians. However, there, in front of Jesus, I understood the depth of this truth in a way that no reading could have offered me. He not only explained it to me, but he also showed it to me. I had the opportunity to see with my own eyes what awaits us as believers. What I witnessed was so beautiful that tears streamed from my eyes, but also so powerful that I almost felt overwhelmed by its greatness. These new bodies are not simply improved versions of the ones we currently possess. No, they are something completely different, yet somehow they manage to preserve our essence, that spark that makes us unique. "Watch closely," he said to me. And in that moment, I witnessed the impossible become reality. A common human body, similar to what we know, began to transform before my eyes. It was as if pure light were taking shape. But that description fails to capture even remotely the magnitude of what I truly saw. It was an experience that fused the physical and the spiritual, the tangible and the transcendent, all at the same time. "These are the bodies I have prepared for those who belong to me," Jesus explains. The current human understanding of physical reality fails to fully grasp what I have reserved. These bodies will be eternal, full of power, and will have the ability to experience dimensions of reality that your current mind cannot even conceive. What I witnessed was truly astonishing. These beings were capable of passing through solid matter as if it were mere air. They had the ability to perceive multiple dimensions simultaneously, understanding everything around them through a direct and profound connection. It was as if our current language had turned into mere scribbles of children, in comparison to the complexity and beauty of the communication I was witnessing. However, what impressed me the most, and even terrified me in a reverent way, was the astonishing ability of those bodies to bear the glory of God. In our current state, as we learned from Moses, we cannot behold the face of God without risking our existence. However, in those resurrection bodies that await us, we will have the ability to stand before Him, to endure His presence, and to know Him in all His fullness, just as He knows us. Jesus continued to show me more. These bodies do not know fatigue, do not age, do not feel pain or any kind of limitation. But it was not just about what they would not experience. It was also about everything they would be capable of living. The joy, love, the capacity for worship and connection that we will experience will be infinitely greater than anything we can live in this moment. Jesus told us that our current bodies are like fragile paper vessels, trying to contain a vast ocean. However, these. And He directed His gaze towards the transformed bodies that were before me. These are capable of holding the fullness of the glory that I have reserved for my children, He said with a voice full of meaning. But that was not all. Vik. These bodies had the ability to move instantaneously, crossing vast distances without any mechanical effort. They simply existed. And that was enough to fulfill God's purpose. They could capture the slightest detail of the universe, from a subatomic particle to the grandest cosmic event, all at the same time. Time blurred, ceasing to be linear. Past, present, and future intertwined in a vast mosaic, a divine tapestry that took on perfect meaning. Then, He showed me something that left me completely astonished. I had no physical lungs to breathe or to express my surprise, but what Jesus revealed before my eyes took my breath away in a way I had never felt before. He began to reveal to us how our resurrection bodies would have the capacity to worship in ways that our current bodies cannot even imagine. What I saw at that moment was etched in my memory forever. Glorious beings, chanting as they advanced through multiple dimensions at the same time, creating harmonies so deep that they seemed to touch the very essence of the universe. But it was not just the sound that constituted that worship. It was everything that surrounded us. Movement, light, essence. It was as if every atom of those beings was part of an expression of praise that reverberated throughout all of creation. That is why Jesus, with a calmness that emanated an undeniable authority, stated that Paul could only hint at these truths. Human language is incapable of encompassing what you have experienced. Even now, as you return, you will face the difficulty of expressing what you have witnessed. You were right. In trying to share this with you, I feel again the limitations of words. How can one explain color to someone who has never seen? How can one describe music to someone who has never heard? That is the complexity I face when trying to share what I have learned about resurrection bodies. But moreover, there is something even deeper that I want to convey. Jesus revealed something to me that touched my heart profoundly. Before we continue, just one request. Please subscribe to our channel. It really helps us keep going. It made me understand that those glorified bodies would not only retain our individual identities, but at the same time, they would be in perfect harmony with all believers. Before continuing, just one request. Subscribe to the channel. That helps us a lot to continue. I traveled through what resembled a majestic symphony, where millions of diverse instruments resonated in perfect harmony. Each of them contributed its uniqueness, but when united, they created a melody so powerful that it seemed to encompass the entire cosmos. Then, Jesus shared something even more astonishing. He showed me how those resurrected bodies would relate to the promised new creation. It was a perfect harmony between the glorified bodies and the new heavens and the new earth. It was as if those bodies were both an extension of creation and independent entities from it. They had the capacity to experience every detail and participate in every aspect in a way that surpasses our current imagination. Remember, Jesus said to him, "What you are witnessing at this moment is just a small glimpse. Even this vision is limited by your current capacity for understanding. The reality that awaits you will be much more glorious." At that moment, he revealed something to me that filled me with a deep emotion. Imagine how those glorified bodies would have the ability to experience relationships in ways that today seem unimaginable to us. Love, understanding, and communion that would be possible in those bodies would transform our deepest connections here on earth into mere and faint reflections of what they could truly be. It was as if every connection, every bond, amplified the glory of God, making it even more palpable. What truly moved me to tears was when Jesus revealed to me that those glorified bodies would carry with them the memories of our lives on earth, but in a transformed and redeemed way. Every pain, every struggle, and every difficult moment would be illuminated by the clarity of God's divine plan. Instead of being sources of suffering, those transformed memories would become a spring of joy and gratitude in our lives. For this reason, Jesus taught us that, as Paul mentioned, the sufferings we face in the present are insignificant compared to the glory that will be revealed to us. Even the darkest moments of our lives will become melodies of praise when we view them from the perspective of eternity. Allow me to share something that continues to transform me day after day. I have witnessed how resurrection bodies will be able to experience a joy that goes beyond everything we know about happiness. It was not just a simple emotion. It was as if the very essence of being was imbued with a joy so intense and absolute that it turned our greatest earthly pleasures into mere dim shadows. The experience was overwhelming, but in a way that evoked a deep reverence. What impacted me the most, and I use impacted in a sacred sense, was observing how those glorified bodies could contain and reflect the glory of God. Jesus revealed to me each resurrected believer as a unique facet of a perfect diamond. Each one captures and reflects divine light in a unique way, creating a spectacle of indescribable beauty in which all are united. "This is," Jesus said, looking me in the eyes with an intensity I could not ignore. "It is what I truly wanted to express when I prayed for my followers to be one, just as the Father and I are one. In these bodies, they will experience authentic unity without giving up their individuality. Diversity without division." What happened next was equally extraordinary. Jesus revealed to me how those glorified bodies would become instruments of divine creativity. It was not just about admiring the renewed creation, but about actively engaging in it. I observed how they could contribute to God's creative work, glorifying His name and, at the same time, filling His children with unimaginable joy. As my stay in that sacred dimension was coming to an end, Jesus shared a revelation that still resonates deeply within my being. He explained to me that those resurrection bodies had been created with a sublime purpose: to glorify God. Every detail, every ability, and every characteristic were meticulously aligned with that divine mission. However, upon achieving that purpose, these bodies would experience a joy and a satisfaction that surpass anything we can imagine at this moment. "Remember this," Jesus said, with a serenity that seemed to carry an eternal weight. "What you have witnessed is just a glimpse. Tell them, Margaret. Tell them that what awaits those who love me is infinitely more wonderful. And yes, more dazzling in its splendor than they could imagine." So, with a look full of love that still takes my breath away, he added, "Margaret, remember that this is not just a hope for the future. This certainty must change the way my children live in the present." Suddenly I returned. My earthly body welcomed me as a stranger, surrounded by machines and faces filled with anxiety. The doctors informed me that I had been clinically dead for 11 minutes. They called my recovery a miracle, and they were more right than they could imagine. From that moment on, I could no longer observe our bodies in the same way. Don't get me wrong. They are wonderfully perfect, true divine masterpieces. However, now I understand that they are just a shadow of what is to come. Paul wrote that no eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered into the human heart what God has prepared for those who love Him. And I can say with complete certainty that he was not exaggerating. In fact, he fell short in his description. I share this not to focus on my own experience, but to offer you a ray of hope. I want you to understand that the future God has designed for those who trust in Christ is far more glorious than we could ever imagine. What I experienced while observing the resurrection bodies was such an extraordinary experience that it still resonates deep within my being. It was not terrifying in the usual sense of the word, but it awakened in me a sacred reverence, that feeling of being in the presence of something infinitely superior to us. Imagine standing before a glory so dazzling that your heart can barely bear it. However, instead of fear, all you feel is a deep adoration. The beings that await us transcend everything our minds could begin to comprehend. It is not just about improved versions of our current bodies. They are something completely new. However, in some way, we remain ourselves. They will be physical, but also spiritual, material, but transcendent, individual, but perfectly united with all believers. A union so perfect that it reflects the deep communion between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It is not a fiction, Jesus affirmed. This is the reality that he promised to all who are in me. I recalled the words of Paul. We will all experience a transformation. However, the transformation I have witnessed is far more glorious and impressive than what our limited minds could ever imagine. These bodies will be shaped to perfection, capable of bearing and reflecting the magnificence of God. Imagine a light so intense and pure that our current bodies could not withstand it and would disintegrate before its splendor. However, those glorified bodies that await us will not only endure that light, they will reflect it in a unique way, as if they were the facets of a perfect diamond. Jesus continued, "These bodies are not just for you. They are for my glory. By glorifying God, you will experience a joy and satisfaction that goes beyond what you can imagine at this moment." This revelation completely transformed my perspective on life and the body I inhabit today. Don't get me wrong. Our bodies, as David wrote in the Psalms, are true masterpieces. Every cell, every heartbeat of our heart is a testament to divine creativity and love. However, these bodies are merely shadows, mere shadows of something much grander that is yet to come. What awaits those who are in Christ is truly glorious. If we could really understand it, we would live each day with an unbreakable joy. In the face of every challenge, every pain, and every loss, we would remember that there is something infinitely better awaiting us in the future. That is the future that God has designed for his children. It is not simply about longing for something that is far away in time. This certainty must transform the way we live in the present, facing death with courage, maintaining hope even in the midst of suffering, and enjoying a joy that nothing in this world can take away. "Margaret," Jesus said to her, with a love that still resonates deep within my heart, "this is not simply a promise for the future. Allow this truth to transform the way you live in the present. Tell them that what I have prepared is much more wonderful, and yes, even more terrifying in its glory, than they could ever imagine. But it is not a terror that provokes flight, but a terror that awakens worship." And so I returned. The experience was sudden. I opened my eyes and found myself surrounded by worried faces, doctors and machines buzzing around me. I was informed that I had been clinically dead for 11 minutes, and they called my recovery a miracle. As I reflect on what I experienced, I realize the depth of that experience. I have no doubt that they were right. Since that day, my perception of this body has completely changed. It is wonderful, without a doubt, but it is also fleeting. Pablo was right to write, "Neither eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered into the human heart what God has prepared for those who love him." These words resonate within me, reminding me that what awaits us goes beyond what we can imagine. Without a doubt, I can affirm that even those words fail to capture the magnitude of what truly awaits us. I do not share this story to put myself in the spotlight, but to remind you that what God has prepared for us is infinitely superior to anything this world can offer. That is our hope, and it is more real and glorious than anything we know. We have reached the end of this story, but the message that encompasses that destiny is even more grand, transformative, and overflowing with love than our minds can imagine. May this certainty flood your heart with hope, courage, and joy, not only for what is to come, but also for the profound impact that this promise can have on your life in the present. To you, who have come this far, I offer my sincerest gratitude. May God fill your life with abundant blessings, strengthening your faith and renewing your hope each day. As mentioned in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 9, the things that eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man, are the things that God has prepared for those who love him. May this powerful truth fill your heart and illuminate your path. God bless you and your family.